Yo, what up? Point of this video is I want to talk about degeneracy and just the state of the world and the future. The younger generation is the future of the world. That's how the world works, right? My generation has degeneracy pushed on us constantly. Like porn. Why is porn free? Just ask yourself that question. Why is porn free? OnlyFans, another form of degeneracy. Fast food, like I think it's projected by 2030 that half the population is, here in America, half the population is gonna be obese. Like, no, we should not be promoting that. And then also, like, yeah, I'm gonna sound like an old man, but like the messages in music, it just pushes drugs, alcohol. I mean, alcohol is a drug. Pushes drugs, constant sex, and like this animalistic mentality, you know? Like, we don't push good morals onto people at all. At all, which is horrible. Like, I genuinely fear for the future of the world because, you know, we have like a generation that's growing up right now that is constantly playing video games, constantly on social media, constantly just looking for the next fix, whether that be, you know, weed, alcohol, party, bunch of fast food, like. And we have a generation that's not really, or this is how it appears. You know, I didn't meet everybody in America or in the world, so I can't say this for sure, but we have a generation that appears to be very confused and wants to be famous. Like, we're not developing skills. Like, there's no inside mental brain fart. There's no inside mental training, if you get what I'm saying. Like, people aren't strengthening their mind. What they're trying to do is focusing on getting famous or focusing on their next fix or whatnot. I don't think that's good, you know? I think in order to progress, we need a population that is trying to constantly level up, trying to constantly move to that next step. Like, it's just such a shame because my generation, it's looking bad. Like, you talk to the average person around my age, they're not talking about how we can set up a better future. They're not talking about, or at least the people that I'm, you know, they're not talking about the things that we actually need to do. Like, we need a sort of revolution. And I'm not gonna lie, we need that revolution. Financial crash is coming, which I'm not gonna get into that, but I think it could have been avoidable, and I think it's kind of planned. We have all these things that are going on in the world that people are focused on, but instead we should be focused on getting rid of the degeneracy, getting rid of all the evil leaders at the top, because they want that. Of course they want that. If you have a population, okay, actually, people who tend to go for those power positions tend to be more narcissistic and like want power over people, and people who want power over people tend not to be good people. You can see it. Why? Like, slavery was only like 100-something years ago, you know? Racism was still going on, but like civil rights movement only 50, 60 years ago, you know? Like, just 200, 300 years ago, we were still like we're still torturing people, you know? Like, there's the Uyghur thing going on in China, which I'm not gonna get into, but we have all this shit going on that we need to rise up against. It is on us to rise up against. That's why I'm making this video. One man cannot do this by himself. We need a group of people together to rise up against this evil entity, you know? All these people in power, they don't care about us, you know? They don't care about the average man. What they care about, getting more rich, keeping people dumber, keeping people poorer, and fucking, you know, being on their yachts and going on vacations and shit. And then, you know, they pass on their wealth all to their kids, who their kids have just grown up with that mentality. You know, they've grown up with that everything's at my feet mentality. So they, you know, there's no struggle, you know, there's no, how do I put this? One, they can't relate to the average man, and two, they can't even comprehend most of the time, because there's just a fundamental difference in growing up poor and then becoming rich, or growing up poor and staying poor, or growing up rich and staying rich. Like, there's those first couple of years of your life, those really imprint you. So on to the next point. We need to imprint the next generation with good morals, solid character, non-animalistic behaviors, because like when you, I'm not gonna get into like, it kind of co-aligns with chakras and stuff. You know, some people believe in it, some people don't. I don't necessarily believe it because I don't know the truth, but here's my point of view. If you keep people on this animalistic level where they're only focused on sex, fast food, and drugs, like that's a very animalistic level, then they're gonna stay at that. They're not gonna be able to develop higher consciousness and higher thought. Like, we are animals, but what separates us from other animals is we have higher consciousness. Like, a dog can't make this video, you know? A dog cannot. A dog, I don't think, can start a revolution, you know? But we can. We need to get rid of this clown world, basically. We need people who are fucking smart. Like, I'm not smart, but what I can see is the evil going on in the world, and what I can do is try to find people like me who are smarter than me and can come up with solutions, and then we can push forward with strength in numbers, because 1 to 2 people can't accomplish anything, you know? But if there's a huge movement of anti-degeneracy, we can do stuff together. Like, it's okay. I'll use this as an example. It is projected by the year 2030 that half of America will be obese, not overweight, obese. What can we do about that? We can implement a sugar tax, you know, make stuff that's extremely like sugary and, you know, fattens you up. We can tax the shit out of that and raise the price on it, so people are less likely to you know, buy it. But then when you think about it, you're like, oh, why isn't that happening already? The people up at the top don't want a free thinking, intelligent population, because then they can't get away with their bullshit. And you know what? That's competition. People at the top don't want competition, because that means they could get kicked out of their spot. You see what I'm saying? Like, we need a group of people that just fucking tears down the walls and is like, no, this is our fucking world. Just because you have money, which is, you know, made up, obviously, just because you have money doesn't mean you can push all this crap onto us. This is why we need this anti-degeneracy movement, because people who are degenerates aren't going to be, and let me not call people degenerates, but people with degenerate tendencies, which I also have in myself, and I'm getting over because I'm a fucking human. Like, come on. People who are like high on the degenerate scale, they are not gonna be thinking about this because they're so into their addictions, like addictions to constantly playing video games, addictions to porn, addictions to OnlyFans, addictions to fast food. Like, no, we need a strong population going forward. This is basically just a call to all my brothers and sisters that like want to see a better world. Simple as that. Simple as that, chief. All right. Deuces, my people.